Alright, what's up everybody? It's your boy Akeem and welcome to today's vlog. Here to give you a recap of week 5 of the college football season. Another amazing week, and I'm going to start things off with the game of the week. UCLA at Tempe playing the Arizona State Sun Devils, and the Bruins just flat out embarrassed Arizona State 62-27 on their home turf. Brett Hundley actually stepped up and started for this matchup, passed for 355 yards and 4 touchdowns. Now, one of the key factors of why the Bruins won this matchup is they ended up slowing down and stopping DJ Foster, the star running back for Arizona State. He was held with just under 100 yards of total offense, 30 yards rushing and 68 yards receiving. Did a good job as a receiver, but as far as running the football, UCLA just put a halt into that, and that was a great factor for their defense, and forcing Arizona State to use the football and putting the ball in the hands of quarterback Mike Brockovich, who actually had a good game. 488 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions to replace Taylor Kelly. Those are pretty good numbers. I have to give him some respect for that, but that was just but it was too much for the Bruins, pulling off a great victory, bumping them back within the top 10, placing 8th overall in the AP poll. Next game, Oklahoma State beat Texas Tech 45-35. Good job for the Cowboys, and this is a tough break for the Red Raiders because the quarterback David Webb actually suffered a shoulder injury in his non-throwing arm, so that's a little bit of a concern. Hopefully he can bounce back. Maryland Terrapins had their first Big Ten Conference matchup against Indiana at Indiana, and they had a great performance, 37-15. And running back Tevin Coleman did rush for over 100 yards, but as far as the passing for the Hoosiers, they didn't do too good throwing the football, and that is the reason why they got crushed by the Terrapins. Next game was an upset alert, as I mentioned last week, between Jacoby Brissett and NC State and Jameis Winston from Florida State, and this was a great game at NC State, and there was a great duel between both of these two quarterbacks. Now let's first talk about Jacoby Brissett. He had a great game, 359 yards passing and 3 touchdowns, and he was standing toe-to-toe and competing with Jameis Winston. And the thing I like most about this kid is his escape ability and the fact that he keeps his eyes down the field for his receivers. There was a couple of passes where he actually had to escape and had to deal with the adversity of much pressure, but he kept his eye down the field and completed some tough passes. And because of that and his size, he is now within my top 15 quarterbacks for the 2015 NFL Draft. At 6'4", 231 pounds, this quarterback shows a lot of heart, and he should definitely, in my opinion, should stay at least one more year as a senior. But if he decides to come out, he might make within my top 10 quarterbacks for 2015. He is that good, only threw 1 interception this season and 13 touchdown passes. Now for Jameis Winston, he had a great game himself, 4 touchdown passes as well as 4 interceptions, passing for 365 yards, as the Nobles pulled the 46-31 victory. It was a great game. I really enjoyed myself watching this particular game. Florida State was actually down, and they was actually on the ropes by the Wolfpack, but they ended up sucking everything up in the 3rd quarter and pulling things away with the 15-point victory. Next game was an overtime game between Arkansas and number 6 Texas A&M, in which the Aggies escaped with a 35-28 overtime victory. Now during this matchup, I noticed that the Aggies had to deal with trying to stop the run, and actually the Arkansas Razorbacks rushed for 285 yards in that matchup, and this is a major concern for me because when you have to play teams like Alabama, who is a run-first team, this is going to be a tough battle when they do play the Crimson Tide later on in the season. But they still escaped with a good victory, and Kenny Hill is still on the ballot for the Heisman headed towards the end of the season, still in a close race, and it's pretty hard to determine who is the front runner so far this season because there's so many great players who's doing good, but we still have much season left to look at. Michigan actually hosted Minnesota, in which I did pick the Wolverines in this matchup, and I was wrong. The Gophers won 30-14, earning the Little Brown Jug. Running back David Cobb rushed for over 180 yards. I told you guys that Michigan had to stop David Cobb, and they weren't able to stop him. Yes, he did not get any rushing touchdowns, but over 180 yards rushing. That is a big game at Ann Arbor. Next game, number 16 Stanford played at Washington. They pulled a 20-13 victory due to the great play on defense, and And Keith Hogan on the offensive side needs to get things together because they're going to have to play tougher competition in the Pac-12 conference later on in the season. Number 13, South Carolina hosted Missouri. I picked South Carolina in this one, but Mizzou actually pulled off the upset and we had a great revenge game, edging the Gamecocks 21-20. That was a great matchup. Notre Dame played at MetLife Stadium against the Syracuse Orangemen. They won 31-15. They're still undefeated and ranked within the top 10. And this week they're going to have to play a tough Stanford team. And that could be my game of the week for week 6. Also, number 21, Nebraska, they hosted a Fighting Illini team, has a great offense led by quarterback Wes Lunt, but they ended up kind of stopping Wes Lunt to just 14 points, winning 45-14. Running back Amir Abdallah had another 200-yard game. He's another player that I'm looking at coming towards the end of the year for this year's Heisman, and he's most likely going to be a finalist for the Doak Walker Award, given to the nation's top running back come towards the end of the season, especially if he continues with the success that he is having. And last but not least, my upset game of the week, I went with Oregon State over number 18 USC, but Cody Kelson had another great game and edging out the Beavers 35-10. Cody Kessler is having a great season. He has thrown not one interception so far this year, doing a great job managing the Trojan offense, and I think that was a big time fluke last week against Boston College, and USC is actually trying to bounce back, and they probably still have high hopes of making it to the playoffs coming towards the end of the season. They just have to win the remaining games at least and win the Pac-12 championship, but anything can happen. So that wraps things up for my recap for week number 5. The next time I'm going to catch you guys will be on Thursday, where I will talk about week 6 of the 2014 college football season. Thank you for watching today's blog from the Football Source. I'm your man, Akeem McCall. Be easy.